real quick, you mentioned over the cap. There's one team in particular that seems to always have this problem, and it's the New Orleans Saints. They are projected in 2025, heading into next season, they are projected to be $55 million over the cap. Nick, how do they fix it?
Well, I think it's the cap. People that say the cap is not real and that you can circumvent the cap by converting money into by converting cap space into guaranteed money and signing bonuses, and that's all well and good in a vacuum. Sure, from season to season it can work, right? The Saints. This is not new for the Saints. The Saints have done this tactic, by getting themselves
push it back,
right?
Push it back.
Kicking the can down the road, getting like $70 million in cap space, heading into the year they're like $70 million above the cap, and they're able to circumvent it by pushing the can down the road, continuing to push that can down the road and get over the cap under the cap rather, to make some deals. But by pushing the can down the road and by pushing all that money guaranteed, eventually it's going to catch up to you when your core, quote unquote, whatever that core is for the Saints. I don't know why they think that core is able to compete, but that's here nor there. Once that core expires, you're still left with that much dead cap, and that creates a very difficult environment to roster build. And for everyone saying, "Oh, the Saints need to get younger. They need to develop more guys. They need to wash their hands of this, remnants of the Breeze era." Well, if they keep kicking the can down the road, it becomes harder and harder to do that. And I think
eventually you're going to have to pay.
Right. The conversation every year, I feel like we can have this conversation and we could say the same thing. And if the Saints continue to do what they do, they won't do this, right? They won't be getting anywhere. And my advice for them, and we can get to your advice in a second, is just rip the Band-Aid off. You should have ripped the Band-Aid off 3 years ago, in my opinion. But
yeah,
you're not going to compete with a core of Derek Carr, the remnants of Alvin Kamara, and the Drew Brees era. Like, it's 2025. Drew Brees retired 5 years ago. I don't think your NFC Championship run where you almost made the Super Bowl, that was 7 years ago now. Like, 7 years in the NFL is like some people's careers, right?
And don't get me wrong, I can understand maximizing Drew Brees' window for the little bit amount of time that he had left, but 3 straight 7-9 seasons, one 13-win season thrown in there as well, but ultimately didn't expect to pay dividends the way that it had hoped.